Another edition of LFG. Hey, we are so happy that you have returned. If you're back for this third episode, that means you've made it pretty far, and we're super happy that you're, one of our listeners. We have listeners, Leanne.
We do have listeners. Maybe they're new listeners, which is even more exciting.
Very exciting. Well, we hope that you continue to stick around because today we have an amazing, unbelievable franchise queen, Marissa Frois, CEO of the Entrepreneur Source. We're so excited to have her on board today. It is going to be a phenomenal, innovative, informative podcast. Maybe innovative. Who knows?
Maybe innovative. Who knows?
How was your week, Leanne?
Don't hold your breath for innovative. It was great. It was great. I just got back from Fort Worth from the Franchise CMO Mastermind, and we had 27 franchise CMOs and VPs of marketing and a few suppliers who were there. And it was really, really great event. I'm on a marketing nerd high for a while now.
That is amazing. 27. I mean, that's a huge mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
So love it. I saw a lot of the pictures on LinkedIn, and it looked like there was a lot more fun there than education. But I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I mean, I kid. It looked unbelievable.
We had intense days. There were even tears shed. There was laughter. We did line dancing. We ate really, really great food. We learned a lot from each other. It was just a wonderful event, and lots of great connections with some really smart marketers out there. I was like, being in that room, I was like, holy cow. But next week, just as a teaser, the next episode, we're going to have 4 of those franchise marketers on. We're going to have Will Fraker, Marcy Kleinsasser, Angela Pauls, and Ashley Mitchell, and they're going to kind of come back with the key takeaways that they learned at the mastermind.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds informative, maybe innovative. Yeah, I heard poor Will was getting bullied by a group of you for having a Android phone. That doesn't sound very nice.
You mean bullied by the 26 others of us?
Was it 26 against 1?
Yes.
No way. 26 iPhone users. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah. Could have thrown off our numbers.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, hey, let's get to it. Here's what's going on. Our next segment, our first segment is what's going on. This one is sponsored by Franchise Assembly, a franchise events company bringing resources and education to franchise brands and people. Leanne, what is going on?
So I feel like a lot of restaurants closing, there's a lot of closing announcements, but this Applebee's announcement is a little bit different. So they plan to close 25 to 35 restaurants in 2024. But a new franchising deal with Flynn Group, which owns over 460 Applebee's locations, aims to open 25 new restaurants in untapped markets over the next 7 years. This strategic move is part of Applebee's development strategy to return to net new unit openings, potentially offsetting the impact of the closures. I think that's really interesting.
Wow. Yeah. Well, hopefully they get back on par. No, I know with this economy and everything going on, who knows? They probably also have a pretty large footprint, I would imagine, at most of their stores. So, but hey, a big announcement. Mary Thompson is leaving Neighborly after an amazing 18-year career. She is going to lead BNI as their CEO as of July. Super exciting. Congratulations. Did you know about that, Leanne?
I did know about that. She's had quite the impressive career and has had a lot of impact on a lot of people. So very exciting news for her and for BNI too.
Very exciting. What else do we have?
I believe they announced this at the IFA and running short on deadline, but the IFA Foundation has announced the Franchise Ascension Initiative, which is a 6-month accelerator program aimed at preparing qualified individuals from underrepresented groups and economically disadvantaged communities with education, mentorship, resources, and support to successfully launch a career in franchise ownership. Now accepting applications, deadline is June 15th, 2024, which is very close to when this episode is going to release, but you still have some time. So visit their website to learn more.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Um, anything else?
Not this week.
I don't have much on the news front. What? Oh, huh.
Well, I was out of town, so I think news stops when I'm out of town.
Ah, gotcha. Well, hey, if you have some interesting news and you want to share it, then please feel free to email us at podcast@franchiseassembly.com. And hopefully it's not an off week when Leanne is out of town, because I saw about 20 different emails in the last 3 days with some great news, but I guess Leanne just didn't find your news
Wow.
very interesting.
Shots fired. Pew, pew, pew.
I'm just kidding. Well, not really, but yes, that's great. If you have any news, please do send it to podcast@franchiseassembly.com, and we'd love to hear it.
Yes. So let's move on to Franchise Royals. This is one of my favorite parts of the show. And this is where we highlight people and brands who are doing really great things. We usually kind of see this on LinkedIn or just kind of hear it out and about. This segment is sponsored by Northeast Color. Northeast Color was at the Franchise CMO Mastermind, so very excited to also have them as part of the podcast. Northeast Color specializes in brick and mortar branding solutions for the multi-unit and franchise industries. Their years of experience producing branded interior and exterior signage for national chains of all sizes and varieties ensures that your locations will launch on time and on budget, maintaining brand consistency with an eye toward maximum impact. All right, who's your franchise royal this week?
My franchise royal, drum roll. We need to get a drum roll in. I gotta say, so this one, this is my one of my favorite people in franchising, who comes to almost every single show, a national franchise show, that is Tim McCarthy. My brother, the shout out is to you. Tim has not missed a franchise show in 10 years. He exhibits at every single show, obviously garnering a lot of leads. But the reason I'm shouting out Tim, and I hope you don't mind me saying this kind of here on the airwaves, I know you had a surgery recently, and I gotta say, I was so touched. Here you are, asking how's the show going, because I know you had to miss the Houston event, and always looking out, always on the right side of things, and making sure, always wanting to see how things are going, and be in touch. And man, you are such a good guy, just for always being there and helping us. And we love you, franchise king.
Well, I'm going to give a franchise queen who you and I both know, and also one of our favorite people in franchising. But I want to give a big shout out to Courtney Stillings of Franchise Business Review, who just got promoted to Vice President of Growth. And I think that's so awesome. So excited for her and for FBR, because what a great addition to have her on their team. She's just the best.
She is absolutely the best. Courtney, congratulations.
Queen Courtney.
We're on the airwaves, so I'm not going to say anything silly. Courtney, you are awesome and well deserved. Congratulations.
Yes, very much so. Before we bring Marissa out for the show and tell segment, here's a quick ad from Subtle Strauss, who was also at the Franchise CMO Mastermind.
Franchisors love Subtle Strauss because we protect their brand standard across all marketing channels. Z's love our marketing platform because they can customize, print, download, and mail brand right collateral for their local market in minutes. Want to see how it works? Connect with me, Karen Wenning, on LinkedIn.
Okay, so we are here with Marissa Frois from the Entrepreneur Source, and she is going to tell us lots of information about coaches and the broker networks and kind of the status of everything going on in there. And this segment is generally, we talk to thought leaders about best practices, ideas, and thought leadership. So we know kind of the broker network is kind of a hot topic right now, and probably won't be using the word broker from here on out, but wanted to introduce
Thank you.
Marissa Frois.
And
Thank you
without
so much. Absolutely thrilled to be here.
love it. Without further ado, one of my favorite people in franchising, Marissa Frois, serves as the CEO of the Entrepreneur Source, culminating a 15-year tenure with the company that has been marked by visionary leadership and the relentless pursuit of growth. Marissa has been a strong advocate for leveraging technology innovations and fostering a company culture where every team member is encouraged to push boundaries, think laterally, and embrace change as a constant ally. Beyond her professional life, Marissa holds her family in the highest regard, considering them her greatest achievement.
Thank you so much for that intro. And you are one of my favorite people too. And I'm so thrilled to be on the podcast with both of you today.
Oh, thank you so much for being on with us, Marissa. We know that you're super, super busy. So we're going to dive right into it. And kind of the first question, I guess, that everyone wants to know is what exactly is the Entrepreneur Source? What exactly do you do for franchise brands? What exactly does that entail?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me give you a brief overview. And yes, we probably won't hear the word broker from here on out, unless we're talking about some of the differences between a coaching network, which is what the Entrepreneur Source is all about, compared to maybe some of the other broker organizations out there. So the Entrepreneur Source was created by our visionary and founder, Terry Powell, 40 years ago. So we just celebrated our 40th anniversary this January. And essentially, we have career ownership coaches all throughout the US and Canada that are there to help individuals just explore the possibilities that are outside of the traditional job market. So our coaches are all about taking people through a coaching experience. And in fact, most of the people that are working with our coaches have probably never even heard of franchising before, maybe didn't even know that business ownership was a thing for them. They just knew they were tired of the W-2 life. They wanted to do something maybe for themselves, and they just weren't sure how to get started, where to get started. And so working with one of our coaches would be a great option for them. And so as part of that coaching experience, they'll talk to them about their different goals, needs, and expectations, and what they may want their future to look like. And they'll go over some different vehicles to achieve those goals. One of those vehicles may be exploring franchising as a possibility for that next step. So if the client and the coach kind of get to that point of clarity that franchising could be a really awesome option for them, that means on the other side of the Entrepreneur Source house, we also have over 230 franchisor members that we work with or that partner with the Entrepreneur Source, so that our coaches could present a few of those possibilities to their clients and make those introductions so that they could then continue the conversation from there with some really fabulous franchisor members.
That's amazing. So you touched on it with the coaches versus the brokers. What makes you so different than the other networks out there? And can you explain the difference between the coach and the broker?
Sure. Yep. So, and no way is a bad way, right? But we as coaches, we kind of consider ourselves more as farmers rather than hunters. So we're really kind of planting seeds and watching them kind of grow and blossom from there. So as I said just a minute ago, a lot of the individuals that we work with are whom we consider the non-ready, willing, and able. So they're coming to us in many instances having never heard of franchising before, or maybe they have and they just have a misconception of what franchising is all about. Maybe they didn't even know that business ownership was in the world of possibilities for them. But because we have a pretty thorough coaching experience where a point of clarity for us is just helping someone define what's next for them. And in some cases, that could be going back into the W-2 life because business ownership is not for everyone. So we're really just taking them through a very thorough experience to help them reach that point of clarity. And in some cases, franchising may be a really excellent option and something that they explore further. I think the typical broker organizations are a little bit more focused on the ready, willing, and able. So individuals that are coming to them, maybe having looked at franchise possibilities before, interested in business ownership, I think they're just ready to hit the gas pedal and go. And so that experience may be a little quicker, but we're really taking our time in a safe space, taking them through that coaching experience to just help them figure out what that next opportunity is going to be for them.
I like that. The farmer versus the hunter. That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
She kept going with the planting the seeds. That's pretty awesome.
And
So you
then
mentioned,
watching them grow and come to
I
fruition.
know, I love it. I love it. So you
Yeah.
mentioned the 230 franchise members on the other side. So obviously your processes seems to be a little bit different and the approach. So how does that affect the franchise members from their perspective?
Yeah. So how we look at it and why we think our approach is so awesome, especially for the members that we work with, is part of our coaching methodology and the experience we bring people through is, I mean, there is no cost to work with one of our coaches. So the only thing we say is to keep an open mind, because if we get to the point of clarity of exploring franchise opportunities, we may present options to you that you never thought of, you can never see yourself in, or maybe you did think of it and you just prematurely dismiss that possibility. And so it's great for members that are maybe emerging brands, or just members that don't have a ton of brand awareness out there and they're really wanting to work with some fantastic franchisees. The Entrepreneur Source experience is great for that, because we are helping people explore options that they probably would have never found on their own. And again, if they did, might have prematurely dismissed. But because we're taking them through that really thorough experience and defining, what do you want your goals to look like? You know, if you look back 2 years down the road, where do you want to be? What do you want your income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity goals to look like? And we always say, if this vehicle could help you reach those ILWE goals, are you open to exploring these possibilities? And 99% of the time, the answer is absolutely yes. So I think it's really great for all brands, but especially those that are either just starting out or haven't built up that huge brand awareness yet.
Do you have a minimum size requirement of, like, I mean, zero franchisees or like one franchisee? No?
We don't. Yeah, we don't. So you, of course, have to be a franchise opportunity to come to us. FDD is completed and all those great things. But we also have programs that can help you in those really early stages. So if you're just starting out and you're wondering, how do I create a really good awards experience? How do I bring someone through? They also want to make sure that when they're working with TES, they could take our candidates that we're delivering to them through a really great experience. And so we do have programs that could help those organizations that are just starting out and maybe only have, you know, 1 or 2 locations at this point, and help them grow to reach their goals. So the size doesn't really matter, so long as they're willing to work with our clients in the way that we hope they would and do it the TES way.
That's great. On the it's funny. So to that point, when I'm on the franchise show side of things, and I'm talking to our customers, and they're asking me about, you know, leads and lead flow, and you know, obviously, not obviously, but a lot of them love our franchise trade shows, and so I always recommend to them to have a mixed bag of tricks, and you know, that you never know where your lead is going to come from, and I do recommend, I always recommend TES, because you guys are at the top of the totem pole. And one of the things that I hear from them, and I don't know if it's a stigma out there, but, you know, they say, well, you know, I don't know, I've heard about these networks, and I've heard that they only push, you know, the higher commission franchises. And so, you know, to me, that's obviously, it's a self-serving thing for someone who's going to push that, where, you know, those ones that are really going to do and help. And you know, what are your thoughts on that stigma out there?
Yeah, and you know, that's a real thing, and I understand why they feel that way. I would say that's probably another differentiator between maybe our approach and some other networks out there. So we do not post any of the placement fees to our coaches, so they don't know what those different investments, you know, are. They don't know what the placement fees are that would come back to them. So that is kept kind of completely anonymous from our franchise business owners, because we want them staying detached from that outcome, right? We want everyone on as much of an even playing field as possible. So for our own franchise business owners that are going through and taking their clients through that experience, they honestly don't know what that reward is going to be at the end. They're really just doing what's best, again, for their own income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity goals. And we're really intentional about that, because we want it to be an even playing field for all. So even little things, right? There's things at different events or conferences where some members could do like top of mind awareness, or these bigger things at shows and events. And that's also something that we stay away from, because when we're in person and at some of these events, we want the same thing to be true there when we're together. It's even for all. We're here to learn and collaborate and work together and do what's best for the client at the end of the day. And then we believe the results will follow if we do the right thing by our clients.
Wow, that is amazing. You learn something new every day. And so kind of on that same note, we're all in franchising, we all know that franchisors make their monies off of royalties, which is the top line sales. And, the franchisee is trying to make their money off of the bottom line sales. And so hopefully the franchisor is pushing the top line and as well as, trying to ensure that the bottom line is going so the franchisee can make a living. In that sort of along those same lines, do you vet the franchise brands that you work with in certain ways? I don't know kind of if you're reading where my head is going.
We do. No, we definitely do. We bring every member that comes through TES through a vetting process. So we'll definitely review their FDD. We'll make sure that there's no any big legal issues, for example. And then we also work with our own community just to look at, from a saturation standpoint, how many members do we have, or industry specific members do we have in each one of those different categories. So there is a vetting process in that way that we bring them through. And then once they do come on board, we also have what we call a 3 Cs program that we bring these members through. So in addition to making sure they're the right partner before we bring them into TES, once we actually decide, yes, you are, we're going to bring you in and we'd love to have you be part of our network, we also make sure that they're going to work with our clients in the right way, because it's also not uncommon that they might be working with some other networks. And so making sure they really understand the TES unique differentiators, explaining more so the experience that we bring our clients through, so that when we deliver them to our franchisor members, they're continuing that safe space of exploration with our clients. So it feels like it's the same experience through and through between our coaches and our members.
So do you think there's a benefit to signing up to more than one network if a brand is considering, getting into this world as part of their franchise development strategy? Do you think there's a benefit to joining more than one network, or kind of sticking to one?
So I would say it's not uncommon. So we do have members that work with the Entrepreneur Source, and they're also working with the other networks as well. What I will say is, you have to have your goals defined, which I'm sure they do, and it might take multiple networks to help you achieve those goals on an annual basis. And then of course you want to see what that return on investment is going to be at the end of the year. So you might decide that one network, is maybe performing a little bit better than the others, and then you could narrow it down from there. But regardless, the one thing I will say is it also takes work, whether it's working with the Entrepreneur Source or any other network out there, to really build and foster the relationships with the coaches. There's going to be opportunities throughout the year, whether they're webinars or happy hours that we're hosting, or virtual events or in-person events. And all of those things are really important to not only show up to, but when you do show up, making sure you're showing up prepared and ready to go, because those are all excellent ways to really build the relationship with our coaches, specifically to get your brand out there, to build your own brand awareness within the system. And all of those things definitely matter, so that you keep that brand awareness going throughout the year as well.
That's great.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't think brands, especially kind of on the newer side, realize how much work it is to nurture the networks and the people who are going to be selling on your behalf or promoting your brand on your behalf. And it is so much work. In fact, even in the last year, I've had maybe 2 or 3 different brands reach out to me asking if they knew anybody who that's the only thing they wanted. They didn't want a franchise salesperson for the whole thing. They wanted someone who would just be the broker / coach nurturer. Because it's so intense. It's not not like set it and forget it, send an email here and there.
Yeah, no, it's the same as our own franchisees, right? So we always tell our own franchisees, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, right? If you sign up for a gym and you go twice and you're like, I'm not seeing any results, what's going on? Well, you're not really putting the effort into it, right? So I think that works on all legs of that stool. Is the franchisor members also have to put work into it and build those relationships up. And for us specifically, we have that training program. So going through that training program and staying true to what you learned during that program, because the fact is, you know, if our clients feel like they're not in a safe space, or they're being sold to, or people are showing up a certain type of way, that is going to get back to our coaches, which will then get back to us. And so it's important to really put the work into those relationships, because again, looking back at that return on investment, it's the best way to get that return back.
Good. My next question is for Leanne. Leanne, you said you were going to be wearing a franchise brand from now on every t-shirt.
Yes.
What do we have today?
So today we have Gigawaters, and that's why when I asked,
I was hoping to stump you.
oh no, that's why when I asked how many locations, because they've been turned down by all broker networks because they don't have enough. So I have a referral for you, Marissa.
Oh, well, we will be happy to work with them. And that's also why we created programs that could help those individuals early on. It's because, you know, we take a lot of pride in being helping others build their brand up. And so you have to start somewhere, and we're happy to be that resource that could help them start from unit 1 all the way up to whatever their goals are. So we'd be happy to.
That's great.
So,
look, deals are done right here on the podcast.
Marissa, tell us then, if I'm a franchisor, right, considering working with the coaches, tell me maybe a little bit about the prospective buyer candidates. Like, do the coaches have a constant lead flow? Should I expect a lot of inquiries and territory checks? Are the coaches expected to find their own leads, or is that something that you guys assist with at all? Or as a franchisor, what should I really be expecting?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. So we help quite a bit on the business development side. So we, over the last few years especially, have just been looking for, different ways, whether it's through technology or events that we're hosting, partnerships like what we have with you, to really help augment that business development side for our franchise business owners. So we help a ton there. And the really great thing is we have a really fantastic method of actually booking meetings directly in our franchise business owners' calendars. So a lot of great work is happening from our side. But in addition to that, we also encourage them to get out in their local community. So they're doing a lot of proactive outreach themselves. So I would say from both of us coming together, there's really solid seeker flow. We call them seekers, not leads, but seeker flow happening there. And then they collaborate a lot with the franchisor members. So, sorry, my allergies are killing me. So even if we have someone that we feel could be a really great fit for a brand, but maybe they're lacking in a certain area, our coaches will always collaborate. So they'll pick up the phone, they'll call our franchisor members and say, hey, I have what we call a request for collaboration. We'd love to send it over. Here's a little bit about that candidate. So we also really encourage our coaches to just pick up the phone and connect and collaborate with members so that you're keeping that dialogue going and working together.
That's amazing. Good stuff. I think Leanne's giving me the red light to cut me off. But before we go, Marissa, tell us, what is one of your favorite quotes?
Oh God, that's a good question. Oh gosh, you caught me off guard there. You know, I don't know if I'm going to give you a famous quote, but I'll go back to what I said earlier, that just what defines CES is all about being the farmer, not the hunter, because I think it wraps up the conversation perfectly. That's what TES is all about, going out there, kind of planting the seeds to watch them grow and develop over time, rather than that hunting mentality. So I'll end it with that, because I do think it defines what TES is all about.
Amazing. This has been super informative, even just for myself.
Oh, good. Very good.
Marissa, thank you so much for joining us. Marissa Frois, the CEO of the Entrepreneur Source. If people wanted to find you or find more about the Entrepreneur Source, what's the best way?
Yep. So you can find me on LinkedIn, of course, and then just go to theentrepreneursource.com and you can learn more about TES and how we can help.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Marissa. Amazing. That was fantastic. Marissa, thank you again. One of my, I'll say that one more time, favorite people in franchising, a true franchise rock star. Marissa is awesome.
Yeah, you guys had a favorite people love fest there. And I was just sitting back in the corner like,
oh, oh, wow. Don't worry, Leanne. You're one of our favorite people too.
just kidding. I love Marissa. She's
Oh,
great.
yes,
I learned a lot today.
What did you learn? Tell us.
I learned, well, I thought it was pretty cool. I did not know that TES did not have posted franchise fees or the costs there. I thought that's really great because that kind of keeps the favoritism out of it.
Yes, the coach's commission point. Yes, absolutely. I did not know that either. I think that was great. I actually thought I was going to stump her for a minute there, and that was wild. That really keeps things at a level playing field and no favorites. And I like it. I like it a lot. I'm curious now because I know of a few other networks, and I know they don't do that. But I wonder across the board if there's anyone else that even. Maybe that's why TES is always rated like at the top of the poll. I always see them as number one on entrepreneurs list. So no, I love all the other networks as well, guys. But that's truly amazing. That was awesome. Anyways, so if you like what you heard, I know you hear me say this on all of our podcasts, but please do leave us a 5-star review. It helps us grow. Also, subscribe on Spotify and YouTube. We will see you in a couple of weeks with more unfiltered news education from both sides of the border. In the meantime, here's what's up on the calendar in our final segment, Franchise Mingle, brought to you by Tenant Financial Group.
Unlock your franchising potential with Tenant Financial Group, where they treat you individually, crafting tailored funding packages to suit your unique situation. They're here to fund your franchise so you can focus on growing your dreams. From there, innovative Rob's 401k funding to SBA loans, leasing, and a range of other loan products, they are your partner in successfully funding your franchise. Visit tenantfinancialgroup.com today and experience the difference. Tenant Financial Group, your trusted partner where franchise funding is simple, transparent, and honest.
Shout out to all my friends at Tenant Financial, Sam, Lindsay. We love all you guys. Derek, you too. All right, so Franchise Mingle, what do we have coming up? Oh, yes. Well, we actually have a bit of a break, which is kind of nice, with no traveling for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
We do have, though, in the fall, of course, we have the 5 national franchise shows coming up in September, October, November, Tampa, Philly, Atlanta, Jacksonville, and Pasadena. If your franchise system is growing in any of those markets, feel free to reach out. We can connect you with a lot of quality business buyer candidates through our trade shows. Leanne, I don't know if you know this. Actually, you know this for sure. You come to a lot of shows. The Entrepreneur Source is our presenting sponsor at all of our events. And I think it bodes well because a lot their coaches exhibit and they get leads and they love the events. Every coach that I talk to absolutely loves our events. So that's really nice. Sorry, were you going to say something?
No,
No,
I was going to say, I know this. You've mentioned it 1 or 3 times before.
Oh, okay, fine. Hey, what else do we have? We have the IFA Advocacy Summit and Franchise Springboard, both coming up in September. We have FBR's Operations Summit in October. We have Let's Grow Canada now taking registrations, sponsorships, and all that good stuff happening November 6th and 7th. Super looking forward to that one. And everyone save the date because Let's Grow is going to be back in Dallas this year. Again, February 2nd through to the 4th. Leanne and I were kind of struggling a little bit. Should we move it? Should we not? Should we bring it to another city? But things seem to go so well in Dallas and everyone seems super happy with the venue and everything else. So we said, okay, we're going to bring it back one more time. Well, who knows? Maybe 2 more times. No, I'm just kidding. And we'll see what happens.
Sounds good. I'm excited. This episode is brought to you by Tenant Financial Group, Franchise Assembly, Northeast Color, and Settle Strauss.